Hello.
You've done something like this before?
Little bits.
Little
Not
bits,
a
yeah.
filmed one. Ooh. Hello.
You ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Are you recording?
I am recording. Yeah, I hope so anyway.
I can see it actually.
You can see it, yeah, sweet.
Nice.
So, welcome back to a Base Coast edition of the RaVe Room podcast.
Hello.
And today I have Jay Carter all the way from
Yay.
sunny England. Thanks for joining me today.
Sunny England.
Well, rainy, innit, really? Overcast.
Fun fact, it's raining really hard in England right now.
Yeah.
Makes me feel quite bad about my 35 degree set, but you know.
It's really hot here though, innit? It's melting hot, yeah.
Beautiful though.
It's very nice.
I can never be too hot when I live in England.
So how's your, you have to speak up loud, is that right?
Is it too?
You have
Hang
to
on,
like.
what about this?
Yeah,
Hello.
you can like really shout if you can.
Okay.
Yeah, is that right?
Hello.
Coming into Canada then, is this your first time?
This is my first time in Canada.
First time, eh?
First time at Base Coast, and I'm kind of blown away, to be honest.
Yeah, your set was fucking sick.
Thank you for coming
It
to
was
it.
really good.
I wasn't sure because it was 4 p.m. on a
Yeah.
Saturday. So I was like, are people going to be awake? Are they going to be alive? But it was buzzing. So,
It was packed, yeah.
It was good.
And also, like I said to you earlier, when you played like the grime thing and the real gritty stuff, I was like, literally, I felt like I was not back into the past. And I was like,
Yeah.
it made me feel like really like, oh man, well, you know, like when you look back at the old days and you're like, oh, that's a really good
the
time.
Old days.
Yeah, like when you're younger, and when you played that, I felt that, and it was like really good experience. I was super
great,
happy,
man.
like when you.
I take a lot of inspiration from like Digital Mystics and that whole era, and obviously there's really good grime being made now.
Yeah.
With like Flowdan, people like that, he's just popping off right now. Considering he's been at it for so long.
Yeah.
He's finally getting the recognition he deserves. And then there's other artists like Limotel. I'm working with, I think I played a track by Magugu. Magugu, who speaks in Pidgin.
Right.
And I didn't know what that was either, but it's like a certain style of language. Because I wanted to play his track on Rinse, which is obviously FM.
Yeah, Rinse, yeah.
And I was like, is it safe to play? Like, is it clean?
Yeah.
And the label were like, yeah, he speaks in Pidgin, so it's not, none of it's like intelligible, really. I mean, it's a language, but it's, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's
sick though.
a divergent, but yeah.
So, like, how was coming into Base Coast and like I know you obviously done a fantastic set, but like building up to that set, like walking out to it, didn't know what to expect, and like planning your set.
Yeah.
How was that experience? Obviously, being your first time, like for doing that.
It's
sort of
interesting actually, because obviously this is my first time in Canada, my first time playing to a whole new range of people.
Yeah.
But Base Coast feels like my people, you know.
Yeah.
And it was nice to come here on Thursday, and I wasn't playing till Saturday, so I had 2 days of absorbing and like watching other people play and seeing the reaction from the crowd is really important, I think, because then you kind of judge like what goes down, what doesn't go down.
Yeah.
But also what's nice about this crowd is that they're also, I've realised, very headsy. So you can take it deep and dark, and yes, there won't be like arms in the air and whatever, but you don't always need that. And actually you can even sit and really feel tracks and feel a set and just like really enjoy it. You don't have to be, we kind of, with all Instagram culture and all this, it's like, oh, you have to be like a big drop and everyone going wild.
Yeah. It's a lot of that, isn't there? Like,
there's a
Yeah.
And that's good and that's great, but also sometimes you want to, like, especially at a festival, you can make it weird.
You want to go eclectic, like you say. Yeah. And I think like Base Coast is like the perfect like thing for that, innit? Because like I said, your set was really eclectic. It was a journey, and
Good.
that was sick, mate. Yeah, perfect.
It was an energetic journey, because I didn't feel like I could take it too deep.
No, but I thought what you did was like really perfect.
Yeah,
it was.
I enjoyed it.
It was wicked. So where did your like inspirations of music start then? How did it all begin, and like how did you get into the whole music scene?
It's funny because I've always loved music, obviously.
Yeah.
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
I've always I was on SoundCloud at the very beginning of SoundCloud, like saving tracks or whatever, but I never had this mindset of let's get into music. It didn't cross my mind. I was working in film. I was working in like social media. I worked in a fucking. Can I swear? Yeah.
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah, we're English. We can swear.
We're English. Worked in a the co-op. I did all sorts of things.
I used to work in the co-op.
Yeah, big up co-op fam. Never again.
No, I've done it for like 6 months, and I was like, yeah, I'm out.
yeah. No, it really teaches you what you don't want to do.
Yeah,
no offense to anyone that does work at the co-op, but
yeah.
It wasn't for me. And then I actually found radio. So I had a full-time job, lived at home, and was trying. In the evenings, I was like trying to find stuff that I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Because I just like working. I'm quite a career-y person, and I worked in film for a few years, and it wasn't like it didn't really stick. I was doing running, and it was actually I was listening to the radio while I was driving some actresses around at like 5 a.m. on the weekend. And XFM was on when it was called that.
Old school XFM.
And I was listening to the breakfast show, and I was like, this sounds really fun. This sounds great. So just messaged the like info at XFM. I didn't really, but I was like kind of desperate to find myself. In work. And anyway, I messaged the info email, and the producer of the show, it got sent round to him somehow, and he invited me in to work on the show, like as a just kind of come and shadow.
Yeah.
And then I was hooked from there on in. So I actually got into radio before DJing.
That's sick.
So, and then I got my own radio show, and I wanted the tunes to sound nice, like mixed together.
Yeah.
So I started learning to DJ, and then I was like, "What? This is a whole new world." I love this. So
how did you learn to DJ then? Was it like a self-taught thing? Any sort of lessons?
A mixture.
Yeah.
So I worked at Soho Radio as a producer, and that's where I had my first show.
Oh, sick! Yeah.
And the people that were on before me were called Four to the Floor, and they're like a house collective. And I produced their show. They're like, as a payback for having my own show, I produced their show.
A bit give and take.
And they were like, oh, you want to learn to mix? We'll teach you to mix. And then my friend Eddie, who is from South Africa, taught me to mix off the back of that. And then Soho Radio was so great because I lived in London, but I didn't live close enough to get home after midnight.
Yeah.
Other than like 4 night buses. So Soho Radio were like, you can just have a sleeping bag here and do your show, and like. So I basically learnt to mix overnight in Soho because they had the whole setup, and I was just like, I just need to practice, you know. So I did that for a while.
That's sick.
And then I was just hooked. You know when you're so energized by something.
Yeah, I mean I've done it, right, and when you're like when you get on the decks and you just play a track, you do one good mix, you're just like fucking let's go.
Honestly, it's like there's a little bump of what is it? Endorphins. I was going to say ibuprofen. I was like, it's not that. Little bump of endorphins.
Go,
yeah. Every time you do a good mix, and like, especially when, and that's just exemplified when you play to other people, and because they're anticipating it, and it's just an incredible environment. Artwork. He mentored me for a bit. He said,
"Did he really?
DJing is the best drug you'll ever take."
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? I think about that a lot because it's true.
Yeah.
That feel like that real cohesive feeling. It's amazing.
It's good as well. Like I remember if I was ever in a bad mood, I'd get on the decks straight away. Like you said, the endorphins. Straight away, good move, right? It's really good for you. Like,
so true.
So how was going from like doing all the producing stuff and then doing the radio? How did you go on from that to like getting your first sort of gig, your first DJ set?
So Four to the Floor, who taught me to DJ, also ran club nights.
You've got some heavy hitters teach you, eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, so they run monthly club nights, which is all for like house dancers, whackers, people that dance, and they're on Sundays at the book club in London.
Yeah.
You know it, yeah.
Yeah, I know the book club.
And they kind of brought me on board, and they gave me a warm-up set, and then a bit later of a set, and then at one point I had kind of headlined. But it was really, really good training. It was all house music, but it was really good training because the dancers, if they didn't like the track, or if it didn't have enough groove, they would just stop dancing, and it would be like, So
it's a good learning curve for like reading the crowd and that.
Yeah, really, so much. And they, when they were really into it, you could feel the energy in the air as you walked in. They'd be like having like battles on the floor, like a big circle, and then 2 people would go in, and like, it was amazing on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of, I started playing with them, and then I did a lot of gigs in like Ace Hotel and places like that. You know, when you just like learn to DJ basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I did that for a few years and was trying to get gigs. I was out anyway, and if I could meet promoters, then I would. And you know, you just gotta like, you know, chase. I don't know. I never really. It's hard to explain. You'd go to a night that you love, and because it's kind of meant to be, you'll end up like accidentally at an after party with the promoter, and then get chatting to them, and they're like, "Oh, I ran that party." You're like, "No way! I love that party. I always go to it or whatever."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and then you just kind of then they're like, "Oh, they book you for a thing," and then I got gigs off the back of gigs mainly.
That's cool. Yeah.
So if someone would see you play, be like, "Oh, come and play for me." Just small things around London.
Yeah. It's good though that you did that stepping stone and your art was being noticed and you sort of grew.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, and that's like good for like anyone that watches as well. That's sort of like getting into it. It's good confidence for them, right? Like, you can do it as well. Yeah. So, but building up from that, then, how did you get into the producing side of it?
Producing, I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've played piano my whole life and like various instruments.
I really got it. Yeah.
And I just love playing instruments. But I never saw it as I don't know, it's a lot of work, it's a lot to learn. And I've always had my day job, which has kind of changed, but it's always like funded the dream.
Yeah.
So I like do 9 to 5, get home, and then maybe like I'd source music for a mix, or production was always there, but it was never there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I got Ableton, I didn't open it for a year, because I was like, yeah, I'm going to do that next week. I even put in my diary like times to sit on Ableton, and every time my phone reminded me, I'd be like, oh no, I can't do that now.
Oh, procrastinating. Every producer's worst nightmare.
And you know what? The one thing that made me do it was the pandemic. So
really,
as awful as that was, I'm grateful in part for it, because it gave me the final push to be like, wow, now you've got time, learn to make music. So. Perfect.
So how like going from like you're learning producing, what was like your first track like when you first made it? I always ask this question because your first track compared to your recent stuff, like I've done it and I asked other producers, what was the sound like when you first started making music compared to what your sound is like now? Is it the same, or is it evolved over time?
So I definitely consider myself a new producer. I'm pretty new to, I guess producing for 3 years now, so
that's a good long time though.
Well, 10 years is what everyone says.
I don't know. Yeah.
You are right. The tunes have definitely developed over the course of those 3 years.
Yeah.
It's weird because I play piano and enjoy good harmony.
Yeah.
All the music I made to begin with, even though I wasn't really sure what I was doing, was very like almost like bonobo-y, like nice and pretty, and but it's not what I want to get booked for. So I then tried to like bring it down, be a bit deeper and darker.
Niche it, down.
And also that's the music that I love. Like I love all the beautiful stuff, but what I really want to listen to is like deep, dark, techno-y dub.
Yes.
Lots of percussion.
Yeah, I love
and
that
so that's
stuff,
what I wanted to make. So
cool.
Actually, it's just been like, I don't know. Everyone says all the best tracks come out of accidents, don't they?
They do. And another thing as well is that some people, even myself, have said if you when you have a track and you spend a lot of time on it and you change it as you go, they always say that the first idea that you've done, stick with it, don't change it. Because that was
so funny you should say that.
That was the emotion at the time, and So
and obviously, like I make the idea, and then I'm learning. I've been having a lot of lessons with Kaizen, who are a London-based duo.
Yeah.
And they're so good at producers. I like rent their studio, and over the pandemic I had lessons with Joe from Kaizen, and he's been teaching me like multi-band compressing and all those like nitty-gritty production techniques, how to fit a kick with a bass, which my first lesson I didn't even realize that the waveform you see is what the shape of the speaker does. I was like, sorry, what?
Yeah.
And I was like, what do all the colours mean? And Joe was like, okay, we're going to start from the very beginning. But when you love something, same with DJing, I just wanted to like get over that hurdle, and now I'm actually really enjoying it.
Yeah.
And obviously there's so much more to learn, but just whack a compressor on things, I don't know. I've got the basics down, and so I'm much more confident now coming up with ideas.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't remember where we're going with that.
I think that's the biggest challenge is coming up with the ideas initially, and like you say, all the fine tuning stuff you can do after, but it's the initial finding the ideas.
But I'm a perfectionist, so I was like, if I come up with an idea, it doesn't sound good until it's produced well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's my own battle. I'm working on it.
Yeah, everyone's different in their own producing, right? You know?
Yeah. And, I mean, you must know.
10
years?
I had producer block for 4 years where I just couldn't come up with anything.
Wow. 4 years?
I hated it, yeah. I literally got to a point where I was just like, yeah, I hate everything I'm doing and making.
Wow.
And then something just clicked. I missed it, and then I was like, perhaps I want to do it. So, yeah, everyone's different.
Everyone's different, and everyone talks about the producer block.
Yeah.
And they say you just have to work through it. Just keep trying, or just like go to the studio and record some sounds. Don't try and make a track or whatever. Just like build up your bank of sounds.
Yeah, don't do a 4-year block like I did.
Yeah, 4 years is impressive.
Yeah, just kind of, but that's just me. Yeah.
Yeah, but you're back now, so.
Yeah, doing the podcast thanks to.
It's a long game.
It is.
I'm so in it for the long game. Like I don't, even with DJing, I really don't want for something to happen and I just shoot up, because you often come down as quick as you shoot up. I'd rather just true. like I love the fact that I can come to Bass Coast, spend the weekend here.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a few extra days afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's going to work my day job. I just have to start working at 7 p.m. here to get 7 a.m. there. But anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The fact I can stay in Canada for a little bit, rather than I mean, hopefully it'll happen at one point where I'll be doing lots of different gigs every weekend. I'm really enjoying the process at the moment of feeling these festivals out, getting. Like, just learning, basically. I
think that's a really good thing, like you say, because we see this thing on Instagram that instant, success is there and it's available. And I sometimes feel like you say, you should enjoy the journey of, embracing it and, feeling it out. And I think the way you're doing it is a good way of doing it. Because
I'm enjoying it. Right?
Yeah.
It's great. And there's no pressure because of the day job.
Yeah.
Although it is a lot to try and handle.
All fit in.
Yeah. But it's it's part of the process, I think.
Yeah.
So
what other projects have you done then? Like, as in DJing, like other gigs? What have you've done Bass Coast? What other gigs have you done? Like in the UK, around Europe, or anywhere like that?
I mean, Europe I haven't been to so much. I've done a couple of sets at Her in Berlin. The toilet.
Nice.
Been to the toilet.
Nice.
I did Snowbombing Festival in Austria a few years. But then this is my first across the pond international. It's my first time in Canada. Even perfect. The US, really.
Yeah.
Even just transiting through. So, yeah, it's it's coming slowly. But in the UK, I've done a few times at Fabric, which has been great. Every time been so different.
Yeah.
And last time I played, I got booked to play a 160 set, and that was actually really fun, because I don't normally my comfort zone or what I love is 130 to 140.
Yeah.
So to get booked to play a 160 set at Fabric, I was like, okay, I'm gonna put some time into this.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was so fun, and the sound system in there is unreal. So to hear jungle and drum and bass on that is amazing.
Yeah, Fabric's a fucking great club, isn't it? I love that club. It's fantastic. So good.
Yeah.
Such a good club. Yeah, so what are your future plans then? What else have you got in the pipeline for, what you want to do?
Gotta make music. I'm actually taking some time after Bass Coast. I'm gonna go to a little city called Nelson, which everyone's been talking about.
It's in British Columbia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just take some time to make some tunes, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because I just want to get another release out this year. It'd be great.
Okay.
And then I have a weekly rinse show, so I'm just kind of making that as good as I can make it. I love radio. I just love it. And I'm very happy at rinse at the moment, because weekly feels like a good amount for me. And I can get guests on and I can do what I want with it, basically, which is nice. And then, I don't know, just hopefully the gigs will just keep kind of steadily coming in. I want to do a few more bits in Europe, I think, because it's easy as a UK artist to get branded as a UK artist, but I love so many different styles of music that it would be nice to play at Panorama Bar, and it'd be like, you know, places like that where you can go a bit more techno or a bit more like certain different
avenues.
So,
of it.
But I'm trying to just take it as it comes.
No, I mean, your set was fucking banging.
Yes,
so,
I'm so glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was worried. I'm not worried, but I always get nervous.
That's a good thing, though. It shows you're passionate, and it shows that you want to make a real fucking good impression, right? And it blew me away. I'm not just saying it because you're sitting here, but it really was.
I'm interested to watch it back, because you know when you're in the zone, and then you're just like, I don't know what. If someone came up and they're like, what was that like dubby techno tune if you played? I was like, I can't tell you. Sorry. I can tell you if you have a video, but I don't remember playing. I just remember like trying to create a thing.
Yeah, like I mean, you even get engaged with the crowds, and I was like,
I did really enjoy it.
Perfect, that was wicked.
And the sun was up, and it was great. Everyone's this festival, everyone's dressed up so nicely. Everyone really puts effort into their outfits, and there's like people fanning you, people with spray, like
I'm like, I was mega hot, and some lady come up to me and was like, shh.
Everyone's so friendly as well. Canadians, they're the best.
Very nice people. But yeah, like I say, I appreciate you coming on, and
thank you for having me.
I look forward to you doing your thing in the future. I'll keep an eye out, and when I'm back in the UK, if you're playing, I'll definitely come and see you.
And when I'm back in Canada,
or when you're back here, I'll come and watch you as well. So.
I do definitely. Next year, I'm going to come back for sure.
Vancouver's actually building up a pretty good techno sort of scene.
I've heard, people have been saying
they've got a new club called the Vault. So it's an actual bank vault.
No way.
Yeah, so they have the depot where the trucks used to come in, and they actually have the two safes, so they're massive, so you can fit like 2 rooms in there.
In the safes?
Yeah.
What?
And yes, and
that's
they have like
amazing.
Big doors, and they've left the doors open, but you can see all like the clog work in all the doors, like for the safe doors.
Wow.
And they've got one that's really small with a massive like thick door.
Yeah.
And it's got like a chair in it, and you can sit in it and have your photos. But it's
wow. I want to go.
Yeah, I'll put your name across 100%. But it's a
Let's
really
go
cool
to the
venue.
vaults.
It's so good, mate. Yeah.
Find a $5 on the floor. Woo!
Vancouver's really picking up, so I definitely think you'll get more sets.
Yeah, I've realised this weekend just how much people are into their dance music here.
Yeah, it's really picked up.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, thank you for having me.
No, thanks so much. I really appreciate it for giving me your time. It's perfect. So,
cheers.
Thank you.
That was great. That feels you're very good at interviewing.
You think?
Yeah, you're so relaxing.
Yeah, I'll be honest, when I first started, I was so nervous.
Yeah,
I was like,
I understand.
So, are you DJ, yeah?
Yeah.
I was like real nervous, and then I kind of just like, just thought, do you know what? It's like DJ in front of a crowd, if you get into it. It's sort of like.
And if you get someone who's genuinely interested in a chat, it's just like, if they say that about radio, it's like just pretend you're at the pub.